Chris is a social media specialist for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. He has over 15 social media accounts for the agency with a total audience of nearly 300,000 followers. This includes direct management of 5 statewide agency platforms, as well as an advisor and consultant for the agency's regional accounts, 511 account, and 3 accounts for the statewide police force, the Wisconsin State Patrol and Wisconsin State Patrol. Chris has over 6 years of experience as a social media manager and spent the first 6 years of his career as a sports journalist. So with that, welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Well, happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me. As said, I'm the social media manager for Wisconsin DOT. You can go to the next slide. So I'm just gonna be talking about here what we do for Crash Responder Safety Week, and this is what we did last year. You can do next slide. There we go. So the first couple of things we do is we work with the governor's office to release a governor's proclamation. And then we also produce our own news release about the week. So the governor's proclamation is, I think, is really impactful just because he obviously has a lot of followers. News stations pick that up when we release that, and then our own news release has a bunch of different things in it. Our news release includes a quote from our secretary. It has statistics on the number of emergency vehicles who were struck and injured by a vehicle over the past 5 years in Wisconsin. I'm sorry, number of emergency responders. And then we have information on our traffic incident management training. And then we also have information in there about our roadside assistant efforts. So we have programs like the WISDOT Safety Patrol and Sheriff Office Freeway Service Team. So I think that's important too, just because we talk about how these services help people on the side of the road. You will see them on occasion on the highway, helping change a tire or whatnot. So it's just kind of a reminder that they are out there helping you. So help them by slowing over and moving down when you see them on the side of the road. Next slide. It's slow to come up here. Can everyone see that slide, or is it? Yeah, it's a little mixed here for me. There we go. Awesome. So our first responder experience social media post, this is kind of the main course, if you will, of the campaign that we do. So we typically run 2 or 3 social media posts during the week, telling the stories of roadside workers or first responders who have been involved in these secondary crashes while working. So we work with several different agencies around the state to collect these stories, whether it's highway departments, sheriff offices, police departments, whatnot, our state police force agency, the Wisconsin State Patrol. They're actually a part of the DOT. They're a division of ours, so we work with them. I believe Mike Youngbooth is on the call. So yeah, it's a great way to kind of share these stories, and we work with these agencies to obtain the photos, the information, and obviously the permissions to run these stories from them. 90% of the time, they want to share these stories just as much as we do, just to spread the message of how dangerous it can be out there, to try and protect our workers. So. And these posts include usually both photo and video. And so if we can go to this video here on that on the right-hand side, you can see a screenshot of the video. One of the posts we did last year was a video of a crash that took place in the La Crosse area. So if we can go to that video. There's no audio to this, but you can see kind of what happened. Kind of bring up the post here. So this worker was in that dump truck. I think they were doing like pavement marking painting, just something very, very basic. When this driver pulled up, probably on his phone or not paying attention at all, just slammed right into the back of the trailer-mounted crash attenuator. So thankfully, the crash attenuator was there. This worker sustained, thankfully, just minor neck injuries, but we shared this story and it got a lot of attention. It got a lot of good engagement. I think over 500,000 views alone just on this video, which is well above average for us on social media. So we just tell these stories, and kind of remind people to slow down and move over. You can see we have a photo of the worker there. We have a photo of kind of the aftermath in the top right of the crash attenuator all busted up, and then obviously the video. So it's kind of a nice package of both photos and videos. And then we have a banner down below, reminding people this is Crash Responder Safety Week. And then we have that ask in the top left that, move over, slow down. So this is one of the posts we did last year. And you can go back to the other slide, please. And these posts just do a great job of humanizing these workers, and they visually show the dangers these workers are up against each day. I think the video was really impactful just because, graphics can only go so far, but an actual video of a crash and like, I don't know, it's more impactful to me as a member of the public too. It's like, wow, yeah, like these workers can get hurt at any moment's notice. This guy probably had no idea this guy was, about to run into him. So our end goal in all this is to spread awareness that if you see emergency vehicles on the side of the road, obviously change lanes or slow down. So you can go to the next slide. So like many other state DOTs, we have our dynamic message signs that we utilize during Crash Responder Safety Week. So we work with our traffic management center to display different messages. Each one, we kind of have that ask at the end of move over / slow down. So you can see at the bottom there, those were the example, the messages that were displayed last year during the week. So we talk about, steer clear of police, fire, EMS, flashing lights, give them space, that kind of thing. So these are obviously well used throughout the country, but it is important, I think, to include these each week, each year for this Crash Responder Safety Week, just to display these messages as reminders for the traveling public. Next slide. And one of the other cool things we do is we do a bridge lighting. So each year for the week, we partner with an organization out of Milwaukee called Light the Hone, and they are in charge of illuminating this large bridge in Milwaukee called the Hone Bridge. And so it's a really cool thing that they do. So obviously it's very modern, tons of LED lights. You can customize it to whatever patterns or colors you want. And so I think last year we did 4 nights. Each night represented a different organization that we're trying to recognize for first responders or highway workers. So last year we did gold for towing and recovery and communication workers. Law enforcement, we did blue for one night. One night we did red and white for fire and EMS. And then another night we did orange and green to represent DOT and highway workers. So this is just a really fun thing that we do. It's a nice partnership that we have with them. They take cool like drone photos and they allow us to use those photos as much as we want, which is really nice of them. And we usually do a photo gallery at the end of the week of all the different lights. Sometimes we have, police departments park their cruisers right in front of the bridge and take really cool photos. So this is just a really fun thing that we do. And a couple of years ago, we did not only Milwaukee, but we included bridges in Green Bay and Eau Claire as well that light up. Last year, I think we just did Milwaukee, but it was cool to kind of have different ones around the state going all that week. So that's definitely something we can look forward potentially do in the future as well in terms of other cities instead of just Milwaukee. But yeah, next slide. And then just some other efforts we do. We used to have a podcast, and so we've produced 2 episodes in the past, just to further tell these first responder stories, talk about Crash Responder Safety Week, and then we have also produced videos in the past. One of them back in 2021, we produced. It was a longer video, and I think we're going to post it in the chat here if you want to watch it on your own time, because I think it's like 3.5 minutes long. But it's recalling 3 first responders, including 2 members of our Wisconsin State Patrol, who were responding to a semi truck crash when they were injured in a secondary crash, and I believe there was a third crash 10 minutes later too. So it was a very impactful story. We ended up winning an AMVA award for the video. So very cool story there that we did. And so we're always looking to do more of that kind of stuff, just very impactful, profound videos like that. And then our state police force, the Wisconsin State Patrol, they do a social media campaign that I help them out with called their Law of the Month. So each month of the year, every year, they talk about a different law around the state. And each November, they do one corresponding with Crash Responder Safety Week. They talk about Wisconsin's move over law. So it's very similar to other state move over laws in terms of when you see, a vehicle on the side of the road with its an emergency vehicle with the lights flashing, you legally have to move over or slow down if you can't move over. So those are kind of the other efforts we do each year. And I think that's all I got.
I see there is a question, I thought, maybe not. Shally,
Yes,
do you have control of the
absolutely.
questions?
Yes. So Don Miller asks Owen to discuss how the fuel station public safety announcements are funded. So that's the first question out there. Owen? And Owen and Chris, if you could join us on video, that would be great as well. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we get our the funding goes through typically our highway safety and traffic division helps us out. So we have our communications division and they help coordinate that. So the funding itself will come out of the one particular bucket from our one division, highway safety and traffic. And then they contact our communications division, and through them they have various contracts. For that particular one, it goes through a media source out of Columbia, Missouri called Bucket Media, and they have a sub that they contract with that pushes out and has contracts with the fuel station TV vendors who get our media publications through that. On how the exact particular sausage is made on that, I am not a subject matter expert. However, if somebody wants to follow up with me afterwards, I can direct them with inside our agency of who those subject matter experts are to walk them through the process. But if you have a communications team and manager with inside your agency, they probably have a very similar process in which they can get that accomplished.
So
You still there, Vishali?
yes. So if you have more detailed questions, feel free to reach out to Owen Hassan. We'll put his email in the chat. And then a question for Chris. The social media examples you've shared were pretty interesting and captivating. Can others use your work? Are there videos that can be repurposed? And what is the level of effort to put together some of those messages? The 10-second clip doesn't seem like a high level of lift, but some of the other more really professional videos that you've done.
Yeah, definitely. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, feel free to use a similar format. Yeah, I can definitely. I think Elizabeth asked in the chat if I can share the link. So yeah, I can post that there. So yeah, feel free to steal it to do something similar. Uh, the lift isn't too bad. In terms of those the post that I showed of the video, we have a committee about 5 or 6 people that we meet once a month about starting in May, actually, I think right around May or June. So we have a lot of time before November each year to kind of go through our plan for the week, and then we throughout the year really we collect all these different stories of highway workers or first responders getting in roadside crashes. So whether that be reaching out to different agencies, sometimes we find the news articles about it, and then we reach out to the highway departments or the sheriff offices from there to ask their permissions to get the photo and video and stories from them. So that's kind of the process that we use. And in terms of the kind of the higher produced videos, we do have a videographer and a graphics team. We have 3 or 4 people that are graphic designers and can work with. We have some video equipment and we have editing programs and stuff to put those together. But the video I showed you, I worked with one of the designers to just kind of have a template and then put the video underneath and then just kind of have the elements that we wanted. So hopefully that answers your question, but yeah, feel free to do something similar at your DOTs.
Thank you, Chris. And to both Owen and Chris, what would you say is the biggest challenge in getting these stakeholders engaged to plan the CRSW activities like the video that you just mentioned? And is there any way, what has worked best for you in getting things done, overcoming some of the hesitancy or lack of interest, perhaps, sadly? So I don't know, Chris, if you want to answer first and then maybe
Sure.
Owen.
Yeah, kind of like I mentioned, it is sometimes a struggle to find certain, content or instances, stories that we can tell. You think of the words Crash Responder Safety Week, and you think of, first responder, on the scene of a different crash, but we kind of broaden that scope. So I think that helped us a little bit. The move over law just says, any emergency responders. So that could be a first responder, that could just be a highway worker, like the one I showed of the highway worker. So I think that gave us more, content to work with. Unfortunately, these things do happen somewhat. It's a somewhat common thing when we have these crashes. So, like I said, we reach out to different departments, and if they're a little hesitant, one thing we like to do is show them of our previous work. So we'll show them, last year's posts, and kind of like, hey, we're just here to share your story, spread the message of slowing over and moving down for you. We're just trying to help you and save lives, both motorists and workers. So I think that really motivates them to help us out, and kind of pushes them to give us their content. And from there, it's just, email chains, and here, can you please send us the photos? Can you please send us the traffic cam footage, or whatever it may be, for us to put everything together? And then, of course, we before we run it, we obviously get their permission and have them look at it and vet it to make sure it all looks good to them. Just so it's a really collaborative way to do it. So.
And ours is similar. I think one thing that helps us out, well, one is starting it so early. I think when Jim fires this up so early, it gives all the states an opportunity to start their planning and process. Like I mentioned, we have a statewide TIM subcommittee that meets quarterly, and during these meetings, I bring it up, and with those, during those meetings, we have the different disciplines that are recognized throughout the state that have participants in there. So having our the Highway Patrol or Missouri Tow Association or Fire all involved with the planning of the discussions. It's usually myself that brings it up, and then is there anything pertinent that we want to, or your agency or discipline would like to push in addition to anything else? Brings it up, and then of course there's always if something has happened recently within memory, that's always a good thing to bring up too, especially with this if it's inside that particular region or statewide impact onto it. Just keeping everything, I guess the biggest challenge for making sure that we continue to keep everything fresh and relevant as we continue to move forward on this, because we're 10 years into it, and just making sure things are fresh and relevant.
Thank you, Owen. And with that, I don't think we have many other questions.
Okay.
So-
Okay. That's fine, Vishali. Those were good questions and answers. So to Owen's comment about Jim firing you up, let me just tell you about what hopefully it's going to happen at USDOT headquarters. You heard me mention earlier, during CRSW, we historically have had an event of some sort at DOT. There's a new administration, a new Secretary of Transportation, a new administrator. There's a lot of new faces in the highest levels of DOT, federal DOT. And so, being the 10-year anniversary, our team is working with our public affairs office at Federal Highway, who in turn is working with the Secretary's public affairs office. And I should say will be, because we're putting together a proposal and this is the same kind of approach that you can take in your state, jurisdiction, or organization, to bring in for the in-person event at headquarters all the major associations, executive level leadership, as well as others, and have an event either on the 3rd Street Plaza, but we're shooting for what we did several years back in 2017, which is to do a major event in front of DOT headquarters on New Jersey Avenue. And I mean, it was a substantial lift. This is back when Secretary of Transportation Elaine Chao was the secretary. And it was a hugely successful event. And I mean, we had everybody from not only Federal Highway, the Secretary of Federal Highway, but the other modes, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, and Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, FMCSA, administrator level, a deputy or administrator level, along with chiefs of police, colonels, state police colonels, superintendents, fire chiefs, tow and recovery executives, public works, EMS associations, and then just imagine a lot of other stakeholders, partners from Maryland and Virginia, and as well as other states like Pennsylvania, Delaware, West Virginia, any of the mid-Atlantic states. And so we're pulling out all the stops. If given permission and the proposal is accepted, we are going for it. And I can't tell you how fired up I am. Vishali, who's on my contractor team, and others that aren't with us today, we're pulling out all the stops. And like I said, if our proposal is accepted, expect to see an incredible event with a lot of response vehicles from the other states and surrounding states, and testimonials. That's another one that our public affairs office feels strongly about, getting actual responders that have been struck and have lived and can tell their story. And you can visualize it, a ladder truck or two with an American flag draped behind the entire event, along with a lot of other, like I said, police and fire rescue towing vehicles as the backdrop. So stay tuned for more information on that, but I wanted you to know it is 4:00. What do we have, Vishali? Half hour?
Yes, we have 30 minutes.
30 minutes. So our next